Welcome to the deep dive.
Hey there.
Today, we're diving into something pretty specific, but really quite significant if you work with C#. How starting a new console app has gotten, well, a lot simpler.
Yeah, it really has. We've been looking at parts of an article simplifying C# console app templates, and it lays it out very clearly.
Right. And our mission today, to unpack what this article shows about the changes in recent .NET and C#. Basically, how did they manage to cut down so much code just for starting up?
And what does that actually mean for you, the developer, day to day?
Exactly. Get ready, because the difference, the before and after the article shows, it's pretty striking.
It really is. The article basically hinges on comparing 2 bits of code for the absolute simplest program, just printing hello world.
Right. And the old way, like before .NET 6, say .NET 5 or earlier, you had all this setup, right? The article shows the using system at the top.
The standard import.
Then a namespace, maybe my app or whatever your project's called. Inside that, an internal class program.
Still going.
And then finally, inside that class, the static void mainstring args method. That's your entry point.
Okay.
Only after all that boilerplate do you get to the actual point. Console.WriteLine, hello world.
It felt like a lot of, ceremony. Just print one line.
Totally. So now compare that to the newer way, .NET 6, and later, according to the article. What does that look like?
It's short. The article shows the default template is basically 2 lines. One's a comment pointing you to some Microsoft documentation.
Okay.
And the other line, just Console.WriteLine, hello world.
Wait, seriously, that's it? Just the line that actually does the work, plus a comment?
That's it. That's the power of the new approach the article describes. It uses these newer C# features to just slash the boilerplate code.
Okay, but how? How can those 2 versions represent the same working program? Where did all the other stuff, the namespace, the class, the main method, where did it go?
Ah, right. That's the clever part the article points out. The compiler steps in and does that heavy lifting for you now.
The compiler does.
Yeah. With this new template, what you're writing are called top-level statements.
Top-level statements. Okay, what does that mean here?
It just means lines of code you write directly in the file, not inside any specific class or method you've typed out yourself, like that Console.WriteLine.
So code just floating.
Kind of, yeah. And when the C# compiler sees these top-level statements, it thinks, okay, I need to make this a runnable program. So it generates the program class and an entry point method automatically behind the scenes.
Ah, I see. So the compiler sort of wraps your simple code in the standard structure. It builds the scaffolding.
Exactly. It takes all those top-level lines you wrote and puts them inside that method it generates.
Okay.
And here's a key detail from the source. The actual name of that method the compiler creates. It's not necessarily main anymore. It's considered an internal implementation detail.
So you can't call it or anything?
Nope, you don't need to. The point is, the compiler handles creating the using directives it needs, the namespace, the class, that entry point method, all the structure is implicitly generated.
Wow, okay. That makes a huge difference. So let's connect this back for the listener. What does this simplification really mean for you when you're coding?
Well, it means you can fire up a new console project and just immediately start writing the code that matters, like the actual logic.
Right. No navigating 2 folders or figuring out where the main method is.
Exactly. Need a quick utility.
Mm-hmm.
Or want to test a small C# feature, you just type the lines that do the work. That initial barrier, that boilerplate, is gone.
Yeah, that's fantastic for quick tools, for scripting, or honestly, just for learning C#. Makes it way less intimidating, much quicker, much cleaner.
Absolutely. So the big takeaway from digging into this source is that C# and .NET have really streamlined the starting point for console apps. The compiler takes on the structural work.
Less code for you to write, faster to get going, cleaner project files. It seems like a clear win.
It does. And it naturally leads to a question like, how does the compiler actually know what to do? The article mentions this, relies on that top-level statements feature.
Ah, right.
So if you're curious about the mechanics under the hood, digging into top-level statements in the C# documentation, like the fundamentals section of the C# guide, would be a really good next step. That's the core concept enabling all this.
Great suggestion. And of course, if this deep dive has piqued your interest, looking at the source article itself, simplifying C# console app templates is always the best way to get the full picture.
Definitely worth a look.
Okay, great stuff. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.